Hey, church. I hope everybody's having a good start to your week. It's Monday. Let's face it. Typically the most challenging day of the week, and for good reason. You know, coming off that weekend, hopefully you got to do mostly whatever you wanted to do, and now it's back to the stuff you have to do that you don't necessarily want to do. So, that being said, you can still have a great day. So I have a uh, a Rhema word today. It was a given word. um, that uh, was really like the cherry on top of a Sunday that God had been building since last September. And I was driving and I was going to do something. Um, it wasn't for me; it was for somebody, and it was a hassle. It was a little bit of a hassle, but I was doing it in obedience and out of love for their service to God as a supporting role. And God'll just give like a real simple word and it just expands, right? Like instantly. It's like an epiphany. Think about deja vu, right? It is this small sensation where you get a glimpse of something, right? And then it's like gone. It's the weirdest thing. So, like a Rhema word revelation, it's like that, but an epiphany, but it lingers and you can just feel it. Like you just grasp something, you see it clearly, your perception opens, and God will tie a handful of things that he has given you over whatever period of time. It could be years. Mine was a year. So, I'll give the backstory for it just to give context. But when I went to Africa on my mission trip last September, uh, when I got back, and God spoke to me, like I fasted for like 40 days before Africa, and like, man, I heard his voice so clearly while I was there. But when I got back, um, he said he was building arks, right? So, like, think of arks, right? Noah's ark. It's something that houses God's purpose. All right. It housed Noah, it housed the animals during the flood. And then you got the Ark of the Covenant. Later, when Moses, they built the ark to house the Ten Commandments. Those Ten Commandments were the presence of God. It was his covenant. Remember, Moses came down the mountain glowing, put a hood on, didn't want to scare people. Presence and the glory of God, that Shekinah glory was just on him. And when people that did not have that capacity that Moses had been given to carry God's presence touched the ark, they died, right? So, I just got back from Africa. He said he's building arcs. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to tell you all the crazy places where like my mind went and what I thought like God had meant. Those sometimes you don't get the full understanding. I just got the final word for it like last week. So it really put everything into perspective. And looking back at some of the things that I was trying to figure out how God works and what his strategy is. And sometimes he gives it to me and it's clear. And sometimes, like I said, a year later you get a word and you're like, oh, I was way off, right? Um, I was driving and I heard him so clearly. And he said, the arcs are my people. So when Jesus died on the cross, he said, it is finished. The earth shook. The veil, physical veil in the temple split. Things that happen on earth are symbolic of what happens in heaven. And that veil between heaven and earth tore open. And later, The Holy Spirit descended through that on Pentecost and fell on the disciples. They spoke in tongues. Everybody heard it in their own language. And that Holy Spirit fire, that revolutionary fire, spread. And that is why the Bible is the most printed book today. That is why, you know, the truth of the gospel has survived. And there's a revolutionary move of the Spirit happening right now that is intensifying and is going to be very, very publicly known very soon. So, and God said that He was building arks, it was His people. So, Jesus said He would send a helper and it would dwell within us. That's the Holy Spirit. So, just like Moses carried God's presence and it made him glow, just like the people that touched the Ark of the Covenant, the housing of God's presence. All right. And mind you, wherever that ark went, they had victory because wherever that ark went was holy ground. If you've been going through some fires, some trials, I mean, things that literally took you to the brink of destroying you. I mean, as far as it could go without destroying you as possible. And you have this passion, this fire burning inside you now, where your mental capacity has been restored, your health has been restored, your passion has been restored, your capacity to love is at an astronomical level that you never thought like existed, let alone you could have. All of these things, God is building an ark out of you to carry a high capacity for the Spirit. And God said that wherever they stepped would be holy ground. God is raising up true servants that have suffered willingly, carrying the burden of His purpose, which brings His glory. He is rising them up in places of not just spiritual authority, authority on earth with a divine level of impactfulness to go get victory and take back territories that have been held by them. And, you know, if you're just a Sunday churchgoer, some of the stuff I say probably sounds pretty crazy. I get that. Um, there was a time where I just carried like a religious spirit. It's funny, like I got a bunch of enemies that rose against me for literally no reason, and you know, picked a fight that they're about to get demolished in, and they were literally like in a group said that they were going to shake the religion out of me, and I've never heard anything so funny in my entire life because God already did it. Like, so if you're one of those people, it's okay. Like I used to have a religious spirit. God is powerful. There's parts in the Bible that people, overlook because they think it's hokey or whatever. Like you either believe it or you don't. You got to believe the whole thing. You can't pick and choose. That's compromise. I've seen His miracles. I have seen people get restored after prayer. I have lived through several miracles myself. It has given me a faith that probably makes people question my sanity on occasion. God always shows up. I never walked into a fight that I took God to and lost, not one time. And it has nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? Like I'm a rascal. You know what I mean? Like I'm a nobody man. I make mistakes that grieve my spirit, but I don't keep making them. And I used to. That was all God. Every victory that I've had in the face of certain defeat, and I mean anybody around me would look at it and be like, ooh, that's going to turn out bad. God showed up. It didn't turn out bad. It turned out marvelous. telling you, you need to get in that Bible, spend some time with God, see the promises that He has for you, and do it until you hear His voice. We are at a place just like the Israelites after 400 years of slavery in Egypt. They cried out to God, cried out to God, cried out to God. God had to wait until somebody with courage, like Moses, could show up that he could use, partner with him, and do something revolutionary, something new, something that the world had never seen. And I'm telling you, we are at such a similar place with the evil and tyranny and everything in our nation. The devil's coming so hard after our kids and just doing it through every facet of society. And God has heard your prayers. God has heard the prayers of the people that have suffered great injustices. He is not standing idly by. He is building arcs out of people that carry His Spirit, His presence, just like the Ark of the Covenant, that purpose. And everywhere they step is holy ground. Everywhere they step, they have victory. If you've been going through some changes, if you've been going through this push to holiness, to, true and sincere relationship and worship with God, He is building one out of you. And there is a purpose for it. He's put a weight, this burden of His glory on your shoulders, and it is so heavy. The farther you carry it, the stronger you get. And He is going to put you in some impossible places so you can see that He can never lose. He is going to use some of you guys to right wrongs that have been standing for 20, 30 years. And man, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. I know I'm going to see it in my life. I know for a fact I am. I know I'm going to see it all over. And I've met some of the people that are doing it just in different areas and different arenas. And I am so excited. I pray for them every day. Man, I just wanted to share this word. Like, God is doing a revolutionary move. I mean, think of the American Revolution, right? The Declaration of Independence. Every revolution starts with injustice. It is followed by courageous men and women who stand up for what is right, stand against their oppressors, put themselves on the line. And those were all God fearing men. And God stood with them, fought for them, and the birth of the greatest nation ever of freedom happened there. God heard all the prayers. God heard prayers across the nation for this. And He's not waving a magic wand. He is calling us to partnership with Him so He can bring order and correction. So we can whip the devil's hiney right out of all these public offices, the schools, everything. I mean, true believers are rising up, joining school boards, running for local office, becoming police officers, becoming teachers. Like, we are literally infiltrating all of these places, and we carry that Holy Spirit. We make that ground holy. God's very name demands that He shows up and fights for us. So I want you to be strong and of good courage, like the psalmist says. Courage isn't being fearless. I mean, you'll have moments of fearlessness, For me, sometimes those are accompanied by foolishness. But courage is standing in the face of fear. So whatever the enemy's telling you, whatever he is using to make you feel less than or small, I promise you, it is a lie. God dwells inside of us. When we are weak, his strength comes out. We just have to stand in faith on his promises and go where he says to go and do what he says to do. And we put the burden of the victory on him. We don't have to know how. We just have to know who. That's it. So I love you guys. God bless y'all. I hope you guys go into this week just empowered. It's not us. I am not powerful, but I know whose I am. And he is all powerful. These crook jokers that think they have power, it is an illusion. And I'm telling you, this revolutionary move is going to show these people who has all the power, who's on the throne, who has control. And I need you to grasp that now and hold on to it and know it. So when everything happens, you know that nobody but God did that. God bless y'all. Have a great week.